Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice for radio, so today we are going to be ranking the GXs. But not all the GXs. Just the Ultra Beasts. There are 7 of them. Now, I know I did a video yesterday where I talked about 3 new Ultra Beasts that have been revealed. I mean in Sun and Moon, and therefore currently in the trading card game, we have got 7 Ultra Beasts having been revealed. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to rank them. And no, I don't count Silvally within them. So, coming in at number 7, the worst of them, the most recently revealed, Celesteela. Now this makes me a little bit sad, ladies and gentlemen. I like Celesteela as a Pokemon. I was very excited when it was revealed, but the reality is there isn't really anything to like about Celesteela in a game-breaking way. It's a fine attacker, but it doesn't have a great ability. And then in terms of the attacks, you know, the best attack here does 30 damage for free energy, plus 30 damage for each retreat cost they have. It's not particularly exciting. I do like the GX attack, which does 180 and flips over your prize cards, but for 4 energy, I just cannot get on board. The attacks are too expensive. By the way, I will put links to the videos of all of these GXs in the description, so if you want to get more information on any of them, that's where you go. In at number 6, one of the first GXs revealed, at least of the Ultra Beasts, we have got Guzzlord GX, which looks really fun, but I fear is clunky and gimmicky. 210 HP on a basic is great. Resistance to Psychic with Garbodor running around is great. 180 flat out is great. And 100 damage, take an extra 2 prize cards, is awesome. But ladies and gentlemen, both of those attacks take 5 energy. Now I know that you can use the Yveltal, the non-GX, and I know that you can use Max Elixir, but it's still 5 energy. And the GX attack, the really exciting one where you take an extra 2 prizes, it's got to be 5 basic dark. Now in expanded, when you've also got Dark Patch, it becomes quite a bit better, and don't forget that you can use Darkrai GX to resurrect on your bench with a Darkness Energy attached and then Energy Switch. And I know it takes an extra 2 prizes, so why is it so low down on the list? I don't see what deck is playing this. If I'm playing a Speed Darkrai deck, I don't know that I'm going to get 5 energy onto a Guzzlord in order to take a KO here, and even if I do, I'm going to KO a non-GX Pokemon, and I'm going to take 3 prizes. Well, let's say you're playing against a Gardevoir. Gardevoir will then take a really easy KO, because they'll only need 2 energy or an energy and a choice band to do it. They're then taking 2 prizes when you've taken 3, except they've taken out 5 of your energy. On an attacker, you've taken out a pre-evolution, and then they can end you to 3 early on in the game. This is going to open you to be end early in the game, which is going to suck. It's going to waste 5 energy. It can be KO'd by Marshadow. It can be KO'd by Gallade. It can be KO'd by Gardevoir. I like this as a gimmicky deck. Playing it with a whole bunch of energy and using Eat Sloppily, discard the top 5 cards of your deck and attach them to Guzzlord. But honestly, I just think it's way too expensive, and I don't know what deck is going to want to dedicate the energy to Guzzlord. I'm sorry, but I think Speed Darkrai decks are better off just playing Darkrai. Coming in at number 5, and I think this is the one for which I'm going to get the most slack, Pheromosa GX. Now, the thing about Pheromosa is, yes, 2 Grass Energy, 60 and Confusion is a bit rubbish, but I like the other 2 attacks. I like being able to just do 30 damage on the first turn of the game going first. I like being able to get damage out there. I like the fact that there are Pokemon like Froakie and like Rockruff who have 60 HP and a weakness to grass that I can KO on the first turn going first with Pheromosa. And I really like the GX attack here. 2 grass energy, 50 damage for each prize card your opponent has taken. If they've taken 5 prizes and you've taken 4, you can win the game by doing 250 on Pheromosa. All of a sudden now, you can go ahead and use Counter Catcher, Pokemon Catcher without the coin flip if you're behind on prizes, and I can see a deck in which I will use this. If I'm playing a Vikavolt deck, you'd better believe I'm going to strong charge 1 energy and attach a second grass from my hand. If I'm playing a Venusaur deck, you better believe I'm going to attach 1 grass energy, it's going to count as 2, and I'm going to use this. This is a phenomenal late game GX attack because you can do 250 damage to take your final 2 prizes. If you're down by a single prize at the end of the game, you need 2 prizes, you're doing 250, I really like this, and you've got the potential for the occasional donk with the first attack. I know what decks I'm playing this in, I cannot say this about the other 2. Coming in at number 4, Xurkitree GX. Xurkitree GX has a fairly underwhelming attack that does 100 for free energy and discards the top card of your opponent's deck. But it's got a really nice ability. It's Slash's ability. You are basically immune to attacks from Pokemon with special energy attached. Yay! Damage at least. Other effects go through, but not damage. So against decks that really rely heavily on special energy, this is a really good tech that you can use. But you've also got a phenomenal GX attack here. For 1 lightning energy, choose a card from your opponent's hand and add it to their prizes. Not only are you giving them an extra prize, but you're also taking a card out of their hand that they want to use. And you can use this on turn 1 if you go second. Oh, you really want that rare candy next turn, do you? In the prize as it goes. Oh, you've got a Sycamore in your hand, and other than that, you've got nothing you can do. Into the prize as it goes. This gives them an extra prize, is great disruption because you take a card they want out of their hand in the early game, and you've got an ability that will really help it against some decks. Number 4 seems pretty good to me. In at number 3, ladies and gentlemen, we have got Buzzwole. Buzzwole is another one that was revealed nice and early, and there's nothing phenomenal about this card, except it's just got some pretty good attacks. The first attack, Jet Punch for a single fighting energy, 30 to the active, 30 to one of the benched. It is Hammerhead from Landorus EX. And we are moving into an evolutions heavy format. Decks like Alolan Ninetales, like Vikavolt, like Gardevoir, all of which really like evolving, so you get to just take advantage of their evolutions with Jet Punch. Yeah, it's weak to Psychic, which sucks with Garbodor around, but 1 strong energy, 50 to the active, 30 to the bench. That seems pretty good to me. Then, of course, 160 for free energy is pretty nice. Add a choice band 190, stuff like Turtonator will be getting KO'd. And I suppose this is as good a time as any to point out that all of the Ultra Beasts are basic, and therefore all of the Ultra Beasts can use Max Elixir to accelerate energy. I really like the GX attack. 40 damage for each of your remaining prize cards. You do this early in the game, you're doing 240. So against evolution decks, you can just be using Jet Punch to spread a bit of damage. Against big decks, you can use Absorption GX to do a lot of damage early, take a big KO. And then, of course, if you take early KOs, you can use Hala to be a really good card, really becoming your supporter of choice. As a side note, I also said Xurkitree really wants the turn 1 GX attack, so Hala would be great in there as well. In at number 2, we have got Nihilego GX, and I'm not a fan of the attacks on Nihilego pretty much at all. Yes, I know the GX attack adds an extra 2 prizes to your opponent's side. I don't care, because it's free psychic energy. We don't have a great way of accelerating psychic energy, and it's just way too expensive. I'm not a huge fan at all, ladies and gentlemen. And then 120 plus stopping retreat is just a bit meh. But the ability here is good enough that I'm willing to put it as number 2. By the way, I know Nihilego adds 2 prizes and Xurkitree adds 1, but Xurkitree does it for 1 energy potentially on the first turn, and you get to choose a card from their hand. But Nihilego's ability here is phenomenal. instant poison and confusion. So they take 10 damage from poison, so minimum you're doing 10 extra damage. And then they're confused, which means they've got to get out the active or flip a coin, and if tails when they attack, they take 30 damage. And then of course you can use things like Super Scoop Up, Ace Roller, etc. to reuse this. Cards like Darkrai GX. Darkrai GX gets an instant one-hit KO with the GX attack if your opponent's Pokemon is affected by a special condition. You can drop Nihilego to do this. You can use Viper so you do extra damage with poison. And you don't need to use 4 Viper. You can just put 2 Viper on the bench, play a Nihilego, you're doing an extra 30 damage. Choice Band tells us that an extra 30 damage is awesome. I love the ability. I don't really like either of the attacks on Nihilego, but the ability is good enough as far as I'm concerned to pop it up to number 1. It is awesome. Although I wouldn't be surprised if the comment section was full of people telling me Nihilego is too high. That's why we got a comment section. I encourage the arguments. And those of you familiar with all the Ultra Beasts should have done the maths by now and realised that number 1 is Kartana. I adore Kartana, ladies and gentlemen. Now, in terms of design, my favourite Ultra Beast is Xurkitree. I wanted to put it higher, but I just couldn't justify doing so. However, Kartana is my favourite of the GXs here. The ability is an enhanced hammer. We are in a format at the moment where we've got stuff like double colorless energy, which is amazing. Counter energy counts as 2 of any kind. If you're behind on prizes and you attach it to a non-EX, non-GX, in comes Kartana, counter energy goes away, double colorless energy goes away, rainbow energy goes away, and just like with Nihilego, we got cards like Super Scoop Up and Ace Roller that allow us to reuse it. It's an enhanced hammer you can search out with an Ultra Ball, and I love the GX attack here. 1 metal energy, take a prize card. It doesn't advance your board state, but it takes you out of the 7 prize game. So what often happens is, in the early game, you KO a non-GX like, I don't know, a Alolan Vulpix. Your opponent then forces you to KO 2 GXs, and then they've only got GXs on the field, so to win the game you need to KO a 3rd GX, take 7 prizes. Well, if you've got 1 prize remaining, Kartana's GX attack reads, win the game. 70 for free energy and shuffle it into your deck is fine, because it does give you an option for saving Kartana for getting it off the field, but really here it's the GX attack and the ability, both of which are great. In every deck, and I mean every deck where I'm playing Metal Energy or Rainbow Energy, I am putting 1 Kartana in immediately. Golisopod Garboda, putting 1 in. Metagross, putting 1 in. Registeel, putting 1 in. And the reason is the ability and the GX attack are good in so many matchups. But ladies and gentlemen, videos like this are made for arguments. I'd love to have an argument with you. Pop it down in the comments. Go nuts, but remember the rule. Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter, @TheWassy, and Twitch at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. That's where the live action happens. If you want to get some bonus podcasts where I answer all of your questions, and one of them went up today, then go and check out patreon.com/PTCGRadio. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.